I'll choose on my live. This is Allie. She's of the Final Straw Fitness that I've been tagging and talking a lot about on our feed and through stories for the past 3 days.
And I'm Allie from Final Straw Fitness with Dr. Danny Homer, who her interview went live today for the Get Feel Fabulous series.
All right, so we're just going to go a little bit back through when we did the interviews in December. Allie was still going through the 42-day reset, which is a program I created to help decrease inflammation. So she had been struggling with some chronic musculoskeletal pain as a result of a car wreck. But as we continued to dig deeper into her injuries, we found that a lot of the inflammation had been there for many years. It just got busted open and became symptomatic after the wreck. So I'm just going to kind of explain a little bit about what we do in the 42-day reset, because that can be done across, wherever you're at. That's the beauty of it. It's why I created the program, because we had so many people that continued to reach out to our clinic, which is Peak Injury Solutions. And we are located in St. Petersburg, Florida. But when people are located in Fort Lauderdale or even across the United States, we can still help them by managing their inflammation first. As with any chronic musculoskeletal injury, inflammation is always going to be a component. It just depends on how much it is. So with 42-day reset, we really assess and look at sleep patterns, hydration, food choices, caloric timing and amount. Let's see, what else? Allie, can you think of?
Some movement.
Yeah, movement, meditation, stress management, yoga, different things. Even with movement, what are safe for your kind of injuries and what are not. So there's certain things that if you have certain kind of disc injuries or like a rotator cuff tear, there's going to be certain exercises that aren't good for you. And I'm not a workout programmer. I'm just going to tell you, don't do this. So then you have all these things that you can do with a personal trainer or with someone that's, yep, exactly, someone that's helping you achieve fitness goals. I'm just going to say, okay, for your injury, these are not safe for you. What else is in there? Different icing modalities and when to use heat, when to use ice, because that's commonly, misinterpreted in our society. Getting on the right supplements to either help with inflammation management, or even I'm very privy on gut-based health. So looking at the microbiome, and then that will tell you what foods are good for you and what are not. So I'm going to just kind of bounce some questions off Allie. She went through the 42-day reset. And after the 6 weeks, what are some things that you noticed that you weren't necessarily trying to achieve through the program?
First thing that I noticed was my sleep dramatically improved, my quality of sleep. I was already sleeping enough hours, but it was all broken up and pretty crappy quality.
Yeah, and that's really common with people that have chronic pain anyway. Because they're tossing into, if they're not tossing and turning because they're in pain, there's other things that are going on metabolically in the body that are causing that disrupted sleep.
Right. Also, we fine-tuned my diet. I was eating more towards like a fat loss conscious type diet, and we kind of flipped the switch on more of a inflammation reduction diet.
And looking at nutrient density, so Allie came from a place where she lost a lot of weight counting macros, which is really advantageous. If you're trying to lose weight, is getting that caloric intake down and really looking at what your body's utilizing as far as macros, which are like fat, protein, carbs. And she was able to get to a certain weight with that. But then we had to flip the switch and go, okay, like what nutrients are you missing? What things does your body need that it's not able to utilize based on the diet you're eating to get to your weight loss?
Right. And then also, being a personal trainer, I was still trying to exercise through it, and I was getting very frustrated with the pain that it was causing, so I would just stop altogether. And Dr. Homer introduced some different movements that I wasn't doing before that helped me regain some range of motion and just get my body moving again.
Yeah, and one thing, we went through some movements yesterday, and I think that there's this mentality that like left and right should be equal. And a lot of times, by the time you're on this earth for 20, 25, 30 years, things aren't going to be equal anymore. Like you've put wear and tear in your body, so a joint might degenerate a little bit quicker. And it's like, if you can only do 15 pounds on one side and 20 on the other, that's okay. Like I think that if you can, let's say, get through an overhead press, like that's already a victory. If you can do one on one side, it's not necessarily the end goal to get to somewhere where like you have to have everything equal or balanced. Even with mobility, we went through that yesterday too, and I showed her, like, I'm not perfect either. It's just that one of those things where we're not going for perfection. Like, we want you to be able to work out the rest of your life. We don't want you to get perfect range of motion these next 30 days or whatever.
Right. What else? On the supplements, feeling pretty good on those.
Yep. Getting on the right supplements. That's the thing, is that supplements should always be a supplement to a diet. You can't supplement your way out of a bad diet. You want to add them to your diet because you are missing them from either, a lot of things. Like, you might just need more of something than you're going to be able to get from food sources, or our nutrients in vegetables and fruits. And a lot of food sources is depleted because our soil is depleted. So there are reasons and times to do supplements, but like, just getting on one because like your friend's on one isn't necessarily a good idea. And then getting on good quality supplements too. So there's sorry, I'm kind of taking this over, but there was an article from the FDA a couple of years ago where like CVS and Walgreens were selling supplements, and then when they actually third party tested them, which means like someone who has no agenda on either side test them, they're like, none of this up, like, a quarter of what they say is in there is in there. So that's why it's really important to have someone that you trust research the supplements and get them for you, and not just blindly go pick up something at Walmart or Walgreens, because if you're spending $10 and you think that you're saving yourself money by not buying one that's 15 or 20, but it doesn't have anything in it, you're still losing money and you're not getting any benefit from it. So,
yes. What else?
Let me take a drink of water here. Talk too much. So I was just going to say so for Allie's case, we went through the 6 weeks and we had a lot of awesome improvements, but she's still like, okay, this is still irritating you when I do this move. And just a lot of clinical symptoms that I've gathered that it was like, okay, I think it's time now that we've cleared out so much inflammation, you're still having pain, that we need to, and we had her MRIs and her results, so we know what's going on in the joint, but waved. We still knew that, like, okay, inflammation is lessened, degeneration, we know how much there's in there. So scar tissue is the last thing that's going to impede movement, and that's going to be able to get fixed by us in person. So we told her, go ahead, come up here. We'll get you assessed in person, and then we can get you treated. So now that you've done 3 treatments, you're going to do your 4th today. What have you noticed the difference between like where you were after where you were at the beginning, where you were after the 6-week challenge or inflammation reset, and then after you've gotten 3 treatments, what is like the next level of relief or symptomatic change that you've noticed?
Well, with the treatments here, I've definitely noticed a decrease in pain and an increase in range of motion. I had this burning pain on my back for the entire time since the moment of impact in the accident. And so it was really bothering me this whole time. And after yesterday's treatment, that's practically gone.
Which is awesome.
That.
Yeah. And that's and we're not doing any long treatments here. Maybe next week we'll maybe film a treatment and kind of show what the treatment looks like. But our appointments are 15-minute long. We get in there, we address the issue, and we improve range of motion. And we were talking with Allie yesterday, me and my husband, we practiced together. We can't lie through this. So like, we take pictures and then we show the improvement. This isn't like a guessing game where it's like, am I better? Like symptomatically, there's a lot of things that you can do to make you feel better, but it's always temporary. And this doesn't lie. Allie actually kept kept her progress from last week and then some, which is awesome for her, and just results in general.
Yeah, feeling pretty good.
Yeah. So, anybody out there have any questions? You can send those in. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking because that's what I do. But yeah, just overall, I've talked about before, and maybe not specifically to this audience, but treatment should be 3 things. It should be safe, which means that the benefit outweighs the risk. It should be durable, which means that it can last. And in Allie's case, we saw that it lasts. Safe, durable, and effective, which means that it is treating what it's aimed to treat. And we aim to treat function and range of motion. So we aim to treat function via range of motion. So after you have the appropriate range of motion back, then you're able to function better. You can gain strength. You can reduce pain. You can reduce load on that joint. So yeah, the treatments we do are super unique and very effective, and that's why we've trained very hard to be experts in this field.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So Allie has to get treated for her 4th time now, so we got to go. But if you have any questions, go ahead and just drop them in the comments. And if I don't see them, Allie will get them to me, and vice versa for her.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.